Can you hear me?
I can.
Yay. Thanks, Kimberly.
Okay. It looks like we have amongst our attendees someone identified as Mike. Mike Wixon, if that's you, will you please raise your hand so I can send you a prompt to promote you to a panelist? Okay, thank you. So at this time, I want to give anyone who is part of an applicant team a chance to do a sound check. If you would like, if you are part of an applicant team and you would like to do a sound check, please raise your hand within the Zoom and we can get that done. Okay, I see the chat from Mike Newton. Thank you. And then we have someone, I believe, Belinda. If you're part of an applicant team, I'm going to go ahead and enable your sound. You can go ahead and give it a try.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think that sounds pretty good. So if you keep yourself muted during the course of the meeting, then we won't have to have that back and forth each time.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Good morning, Kimberly. I'm just checking my audio. Can you hear me?
Sounds great. Thanks,
Thank
Monet.
you. Thank you.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good morning, Kimberly. Are you there?
I am. Thank you, Susie. I just keep myself muted most of the time.
I appreciate that. I just want to make sure before I open my mouth and get moving that I've got my support there. So
Yeah.
thank you. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Zoning Administrator meeting of July 7th, 2022. My name is Susie Murray, and I'm going to be serving as the Zoning Administrator today. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and read this information on the screen, and I'm going to kind of ad lib as I go through the meeting. So pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E and the recommendation of the County Health Officer of Sonoma County, the Zoning Administrator will be participating in this meeting via Zoom webinar. Members of the public can participate virtually. The telephone number to call in if you have technical issues with your computer is 877-853-5257. I'm going to repeat the meeting ID again, but please have a pencil handy. 840-5896-8465. You'll need that access code to get in. So I'm going to repeat the number and that number and that access code again. The phone number is 877-853-5257 and the access code is 840-5896-8465. Public accessing the meeting through Zoom can provide comments during the public comment periods. Additional information related to the meeting participation is available at srcity.org/zoning admin. So https://srcity.org/zoningadmin. And the meeting will be live streamed. And if you can see this, you can Google it on YouTube as well. That's how I access them. Go and scan down there. Let's see. So with that, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Zoning Administrator for July 7th, 2022. I'm going to open up a public comment period, and this is a time when members of the community that are in attendance can make a public comment pertaining to things that are not on the agenda. If there is an item on the agenda that you are here to talk about or comment on, you'll be given an opportunity when we listen to that item. So if there's anyone wishing to speak about a topic that's not listed on the agenda, please raise your hand. We have a couple messages in our chat. There's somebody who's saying,
Yeah.
she cannot hear. Oh, she can
yeah.
hear now. Yay.
I did see that. First of all, I just wanted to mention, I don't see any raised hands among our attendees. And I just want to let the person, I'm gonna also respond to the chat because she says she's having trouble hearing. So I'm gonna respond to that chat and give her the dial-in information, because sometimes that is a way that people can access the sound without, if the sound on the computer is not working very well.
Okay, that would be great. I appreciate that. In the meantime, if that individual that can now hear, if you would like to make any comments that are about items that are not on the agenda, would you type that into the chat?
Okay, they just updated. They must have found the setting on their computer because they just updated that they were able to get it working.
Very happy about that. Okay, then let's move on to our statement of purpose. The zoning
We
administrator.
have one hand raised, Ms. Murray.
Yeah, one hand just popped up. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and enable your sound. I believe this person might be here for one of our agenda items. So I just want a little reminder that this public comment is for items that are not on the agenda. The initial public comment is for anything that's not on the agenda. Okay, the hand went down. Thanks.
Okay. So the statement of purpose. The zoning administrator is appointed by the Planning and Economic Development Director and has the responsibility and authority to conduct public meetings and public hearings and to take action on applications for minor discretionary projects. A determination or decision by the zoning administrator may be appealed to the Design Review Board, Cultural Heritage Board, Planning Commission, or City Council as applicable to the decision. For any decisions or actions made today, the final appeal date will be July 18th, Monday, July 18th. An appeal application can be submitted in person at 100 Santa Rosa Avenue and Room 3, Planning and Economic Development. Or I believe, and Kimberly, can you confirm that they can be submitted online as well, right?
Yeah, online is fine. I believe a lot of times our appeals come directly to the project planner.
Oh, excuse me. Okay. So those appeals do not need to come to the project planner, although that is also an option. Sorry, I am in the office, so I'm turning off all my ringers because they're all going nuts right now. Okay, so they can be submitted to the planner, except the planner cannot accept the appeal fee. So that they should direct route to the front counter or to permit submittal at srcity.org is the email address that you can submit those applications to. You can certainly contact the planner for instructions on how to do that. So we don't have any consent items today. And we do have some scheduled items, but before I start on the scheduled items, I would like to point out for applicant, neighbors, anybody who is here for item 5.6, which is a fence proposed at, let me see, we got it at 2617 Rosevine Lane. We've made the determination that a conditional use permit is not required and that they can go straight to building permits. So I want to express my appreciation to the applicant for going through, enduring this process, and good luck. And I drove by your fence this morning and it looks very nice. So, okay, and I'll make another announcement to that effect when we get to the end of the agenda. But for now, let's move on to item 5.1. So item 5.1 is a public hearing, and it is for a project located at 100 Sebastopol Road, involving exterior modifications to an existing 20,433 square foot building to include a new entry canopy and new openings to the building, construction of a new 480 square foot pre-manufactured building, a new trash enclosure, new dispensary outdoor consumption lounge, new fencing along parcel perimeter, and new motorized gates at entrance. File number DR 22-023. And presenting today is Monet Shikali on behalf of Kristen A. Tumians. Monet?
Yep, I'm here. Good morning, Ms. Murray, and thank you for the introduction. I'm going to share my screen and start presenting this project. So as you mentioned, this is a minor design review for the property located at 100 Sebastopol Road. So here is the scope of the work. You actually mentioned some of the work. I will go through them again. So the applicant will do some interior modification to the building that is not part of a design review. Any exterior changes are part of this design review. The applicant is proposing to a new canopy, entry canopy openings to the building, construction of a pre-manufactured building that is for volatile cannabis use, a new trash enclosure, and a fenced outdoor consumption lounge, and some new fencing around the building. Some will be replaced with similar fence And some of the fence will be placed with the fence that will have slats. I will go into those details through my PowerPoint presentation. So here is where the project is located. Here is an aerial view of the site. The structures at the middle, they are already demo and they are gone. So those are demolished. And here is the existing fence along the project site and the existing building. Here is the zone and the general plan land use for this parcel. So I want to just give a brief history or background for the project. March of last year, an application was submitted requesting approval of conditional use permit for Old School Cannabis to operate a cannabis facility that would include a retail dispensary with delivery and on-site consumption, and it would include commercial cultivation area. Also, it would add a distribution area, and also it would include manufacturing level 2 volatile. The project went to Planning Commission and got approved. However, there were 2 appeals submitted, and the project went to City Council on December 14, 2021. And the City Council decision was denial of the appeal and uphold the decision of the Planning Commission. So the project received approval for all those uses. Here is a site plan as it is. And let me show you the proposal. So here is the proposed site plan. Okay. Can you see my mouse when I move here? So, okay, great.
Yeah, we can.
So the Flex Mod trailer or manufacturer building will be placed outside of the building, which is here. And the trash enclosure with CMU walls will be placed in this area. And this area will be the outdoor canopy and consumption area for the dispensary. The applicant is proposing this kind of fence, the black chain link fence with privacy slats in these areas that I'm showing them with red. So basically it will screen the manufacturing volatile Flex Mod structure. There will be a gate here in this area that will be only provide access for the employees that are working on the site, and a gate and the fence that will be connected to the trash enclosure and to the building in this area. So the current fence is along the property in this area, and the applicant will push it further to be attached to the proposed trash enclosure and provide some landscaping in this area. And also, the applicant is proposing to replace the existing fence along Sebastopol Road with the new fence, which is going to be a similar, but it will be in a black color along Sebastopol Road and include the gates there. And here is the proposed dispensary plaza with the enclosed consumption area. So there won't be any smoking on the site. It's going to be for like edibles. No smoking is allowed there. So here is the consumption area floor plan and roof plan. This is type of the fence that will be used to screen the consumption area. And here is the Flex Mod manufacturer building that shows the height of the building, and the fence that will be used to screen the structure. Here is the trash enclosure area. The applicant is using CMU block, and as you can see, here is the chain link fence with slat that will be attached to the proposed trash enclosure. And here is overall proposed site plan with landscaping. Some trees will be added, the parking will be improved, and additional parking spaces will be added to the site. So as of today, I have not received any comments or emails from anyone within the neighborhood. And about environmental review, this project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for several exemptions. Class 3 categorical exemption, Class 1, it is Class 32 and infill, and also the projects qualify for exemption pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 151A3 and section 151A2. The project is consistent with the city's general plan and Roseland area Sebastopol Road specific plan, which the EIR was prepared and certified. And with that, The Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve a minor design review permit for old school exterior modification and the new building, which is the manufacturing wall tile at 100 Sebastopol Road. And that was my presentation. I know the applicant, Troy, is also available to answer questions if there are any. Thank you.
Does the applicant want to say anything or add their own presentation now?
They don't have a presentation, but they are available to answer questions or provide additional information if it's needed.
Okay. I'm going to open up the public comment period. Is there anybody from the public that would like to make comments pertaining to this project?
So want to let our attendees know you can raise your hand within the Zoom meeting. And we do have someone who has called in on the phone. And so want to let you know that if you press *9 on your phone, then it will let us know that it'll raise your hand within our meeting, and we'll go ahead and be able to get your sound enabled. We did have one hand up, but it looks like it went down. So sometimes we like to just be a little bit patient, let everybody find that on their computer. It's the raised hand feature within the Zoom meeting or *9 on the phone.
So I'm not seeing a whole lot of people responding there. So I'm going to go ahead. I have some clarifying questions, and I'm going to ask Ms. Shikali if you could pull up the presentation again and go back to that one that had the red lines with the, yeah, it showed where the fence is. There you go. And one of the questions that comes to mind right off the bat at the trash enclosure, putting that the fence adjacent to the trash enclosure, it looks like the trash enclosure has a vent at the top. How are you securing the trash inside the enclosure, which I believe you need to do as part of your conditional use permit?
I would refer this question to the applicant, but if you don't mind, let me pull out also the site plan. It might be better than the PowerPoint, so I can zoom and have a better look at the site plan. Troy, will you be able to answer the question? I see he's in attendees.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and send Troy a prompt. Troy, when you answer that prompt, it should enable your sound.
Hear me?
Yes, we can, Troy.
All right. So Susan, can you repeat that question again about the trash enclosure?
Yeah, so I think as part of your conditional use permit, you need to secure the trash area, secure it so A, from odors, and B, so nobody can take any of your trash. And it looked to me like the trash enclosure has a vented area on top, which is very common. And my question to you is, with that black chain link fence, which in my opinion is not the best security fence, how you're going to keep the trash inside the trash enclosure secure.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, one things we could do is, so there's gates in front of the trash enclosure as well that'll be locked. You can see that in the bottom right-hand elevation. But I think you do bring up a good point about the kind of vented space between the 8-foot and 10-foot. So I think that's something we can look at lowering. It doesn't need to be 10 feet, I don't believe. So either we can raise the CME block wall so there's less of a vent, or we could, go ahead.
I have a suggestion. You could put some just some secure metal panels that are also vented in there to just fill those gaps. If you use a black metal, that'll kind of tie in the color of your fence as well.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
And I would ask that you, before you construct that you ask for your planner, whether it's Ms. Shikali or Ms. Tumian's, that they approve that design. That's something they can do over the counter.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I have another question for you.
Sure.
I'm a little uneasy about approving a chain link fence along the Sebastopol Road frontage.
Okay.
The reason is it's a commercial area. It's a very well-traveled street, and the chain link fence is anything but attractive. I drove by this morning, and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of opportunities to do landscaping, although I think there is an opportunity to do a much more attractive fence, and still for a comparable price. Would you be open to an alternative to chain link along the Sebastopol Road frontage?
Yeah, and I can talk to, obviously I get to talk to the client first, but we are providing landscape along that frontage.
Mhm.
So we're doing new landscaping islands. If you go back to maybe the landscape plan, it'll show it better. So you can see that those are all new islands that we're doing along 100 Sebastopol.
Is that on the inside of the fence or the
That's
outside?
it on the inside. We could pull the fence back so that some of it's on the outside and some of it's on the inside.
Well, so I guess it's still going to be a prominent feature right along Sebastopol
Okay.
Avenue. So I see a few options.
Okay.
First, I don't know that you actually really need a fence along Sebastopol Road. That is completely that's your choice. But if they do want a fence along that area, I would like to see something that's just more attractive than a chain
Gotcha.
link fence. Chain link fence, I mean, I'm a 60-year-old woman and I can scale a 6-foot chain link fence. So as far as security, I don't think it provides a whole lot of security. The beauty of it is that it's transparent, and so police officers patrolling the area will certainly be able to see on site. And I will point out that they won't be able to see through the fences that are enclosing other areas, the consumption area and the area around the new prefabricated unit.
Yeah.
But which, again, I caution people putting in solid fencing where police officers can't see it, but I also know that cannabis facilities have very good security, and that those places will be monitored. So my primary concern is that fence along Sebastopol Avenue, that if they do want a fence, I would like to condition the project that they will propose an alternative to chain link and ask the planner, again, over the counter design review. We can approve it over the counter, just an alternative material that is, again, I can think of several. There's the hog wire or deer fencing. You see it up in the hills a lot. That's you can get it in the same black coated metal.
Okay.
I caution you for a long fence like this with black coated metal because it does wear off over the years. And if that's what's approved, they'll be required to maintain it in good condition forever until it's replaced. So,
Yep.
So, but
Understood.
if we can add a condition that just gives us, I'm okay with the chain link going down the side. I think that I would also reconsider the chain link with slats by the trash enclosure, because again, patrolling police officers will not be able to see through that to get a clear on-site if somebody is breaking into your trash enclosure. And I reiterate, I know you have very good security. So
Okay.
that as reconsider if you make changes, that too can be approved over the counter.
Okay.
So, Monet, would you please add a condition that just says the fencing material shall be replaced with an alternative pending planning staff approval?
The fencing material shall be?
Yes, shall be replaced along the
Sebastopol Road.
frontage. Yes.
And then just so I understand, there is a preference to that not even have a fence along that side as well.
I think that's your call.
Okay.
I mean, and this approval won't require you to install a fence. It will just require you to change the design of the fence if it is installed.
Okay. Sounds good.
And thank you for being flexible to that. I was getting heartburn over it.
No problem. Understood.
So Ms. Murray, just a quick question. The fence, the condition that we want to add to the resolution, it's going to be something like the fencing material shall be An alternative fencing material shall be replaced along Sebastopol Road frontage.
and shall be approved by planning staff.
Okay,
Since I'm not sure if it'll be you or Kristen A doing that.
okay, thank you.
You bet. Now, oh, wait, I forgot too, Monet, would you
Yes.
also add a condition that says that they'll put in black metal panels or something approved again by planning staff on the trash enclosure to secure the contents of that structure?
Okay, I can come up with a condition that says the applicant shall come up with the alternative or a screening for the trash enclosure to secure it.
Yeah, screening.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
something to secure it. It's
Okay, I will
Nice.
draft it
Nice.
and surety. Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and I think with that, with a couple of extra conditions, I did review the findings and the other conditions. I think did we modify the hours of construction on this project?
I believe so. I think, let me check the resolution. I believe we may change it to 8 to 6, Monday to Friday.
I did. And the reason I did, and this is Troy, while you're still there, I want to make sure you're aware of this. This property is adjacent to residential. And when it's adjacent to residential, we like to make sure that people can get up in the morning, get their kids off to school before construction sounds begin. And so I've conditioned, and then of course, they're not woken up at the crack of dawn on Saturday when a good majority of us are sleeping in, and that we also don't interrupt dinner hours. So we've modified the hours of operation construction hours to 8 to 6 on Monday through Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturday, with no construction on Sunday or holidays, which is pretty normal. Are you okay with that? Oh no, Troy, you didn't leave us, did you? Okay. You just have to unmute, Troy. I think.
Yeah, I sent a prompt also. He's got his hand raised. Let's see if the prompt works. Look for a
There he
prompt.
is.
Troy.
Troy, are you there?
I am there, yes. My question was, does that pertain to just all construction work or just the exterior work?
Well, unfortunately, it only pertains to, it only pertains to the work that's within the scope of this review, which
Okay,
is the exterior. I would hope that you would do anything on the interior with any noise generating activities, that you would be very aware of your neighbors and consider
Understood.
their life.
okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Mm. And with that, I'm going to approve this project. Thank you very much, Ms. Shikali.
Thank you.
It's difficult to call you that, I will admit, in a public meeting, since I can usually throw paper at you over our cube wall. So the second item is a conditional use permit proposed at 386 Yolanda Avenue in Suite B. This is a minor conditional use permit for Bella Toca project, which consists of constructing a cannabis cultivation facility, state license type 1A, within an existing 1,930 square foot industrial building. The use will consist of storage rooms, a grow canopy, a processing area, and an ADA compliant bathroom. The application has been filed by Mike Newton, file number CUP 22-006. And I would also like to disclose for anybody listening that back in 2017, I was the project planner for a rezoning at this point, bringing the zoning consistent with the general plan land use, which is light industry, and this is now zoned light industrial. I did not work with this applicant. So with that, Ms. Shikali, will you give us the presentation?
Sure. I will share my screen again. Okay, great. As you mentioned, this is a minor conditional use permit for cannabis cultivation use. The applicant Bella Toka is the name of the project, the proposed use. And the project site is located at 386 Yolanda Avenue, Suite B. So here is the floor plan. And as you mentioned, the use permit is for commercial cannabis cultivation type 1A facility, which is less than 5,000 square feet within an existing building that is 2,000 square feet, industrial building. So here is the project site, which is zoned light industrial, consistent with the general plan land use light industry. And this is where the Suite B is, and Yolanda Avenue. We have so many industrial and cannabis users along Yolanda Avenue corridor because we have lots of industrial zoning in this site of the Yolanda Avenue. And here is a closer look. The parking lot was improved recently to provide 22 parking spaces. 2 of them are ADA. And there are 2 buildings on the site. The building on the south has 4 suites and the one on the north has 3. Majority of the uses on the site are cannabis cultivation or manufacturing. And distribution also. So here is the overall site plan and where the site is located. And 22 parking, as I mentioned, with the ADU, with accessible parking, which are here, 2 of them. And every cannabis project requires to provide odor mitigation plan, security plan, lighting plan, along other requirements. So this project, the applicant has provided an odor mitigation plan certified by an engineer that explains how the odor will be controlled on site. So there won't be any operable window for this building, and the applicant would install a carbon filtration to mitigate for the odor produced by the use. And there will be a security guard on site during the delivery and distribution, and the applicant will install security cameras, and there are also lighting inside and outside of the building. So I have received only 1 email from a neighbor that's saying they are opposing the project along other neighbors. They didn't explain any reason. They were just against this project. And as for CEQA, the project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for a Class 1 exemption. The project proposes an existing facility with minor exterior modifications. And with that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator, by resolution, approve a minor conditional use permit for the property located at 386 Yolanda Avenue, Suite B. Eric Forstall and the applicant, Howard Green, both are available to answer questions if there are any. And that was my presentation. I'm also available to answer questions if there are any. Thank you.
I do have a couple, but I want to first ask if the applicant would like to make any comments or provide any presentation. It doesn't sound like they have a presentation.
No presentation, but they are available. I don't think Eric, if he wants to mention any additional comments, please, he can raise his hand. There we go.
Okay, I think I'll go ahead and, oh, we do have Eric's hand raised. Got it. Kimberly. Hi, Eric. Can you?
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. My name is Eric Forstall. I'm the project manager and designer on this project. I've actually handled almost every single tenant space for this property, all of them being cannabis related, including doing PG&E upgrade services on the property and coordinating the parking lot improvements as well. Every one of these projects has gone through very smoothly, and I appreciate how quick and how much Monet has helped us on multiple of these projects now on this property. And I'd be willing to answer any questions anybody has. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think first I'm gonna open this up for public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on the project? Kimberly, was it *9 if you're calling in?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so if you're calling in, hit *9 and that'll raise your hand, and Kimberly will be able to work her magic and give you speaking rights. We have a lot of people in attendance in this meeting, more so than usual. Okay, but I don't see any hands raised. So with that, I would like to ask just a couple of questions. I think Ms. Shikali did address the odor mitigation. I have a question about the trash. How will the trash be stored? And if it's inside the building, that's fine. But when it's moved outside, how do you do that where it's kept secure all the time?
The applicant, Eric, can explain that. I believe they will have a contract with someone to pick the trash. Eric, can you explain that? What's your proposal? I know you didn't mention any exterior storage for the trash. It's going to be inside of the building.
Yes, so what we're gonna have is almost a zero waste program for how this operation works. And what we're gonna have, and Howard can elaborate, and I believe he's on the call, even in more detail than me, is that we're gonna be storing the trash on the interior, and that it'll be properly removed to a proper waste facility for off-site for any type of waste material we actually have. The project also does include a trash enclosure, which is part of the site improvements for the parking lot. Once the PG&E, which I'm sure you're aware of, PG&E is slow. Once the PG&E improvements are complete.
Okay, and that trash enclosure that's on site, this tenant will be able to use it?
Yes, all the tenants will be able to use that trash enclosure.
And that enclosure is secure and also contains odors. Is that the
I
plan
don't
for
think
it?
it's ever been designed to contain odors. It's a typical trash enclosure with a trash enclosure. It's locked and everything.
And so for the will they be disposing of any cannabis, anything out there? So we
No.
want to make sure, no?
No,
Okay. So all cannabis products will be taken.
off-site.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And contained inside until they're off-site where they're protected with that odor control. I think it's is it charcoal?
Yes.
Or filtration. Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you. And I don't know that you have any construction to do, but I think there was the construction hours on this project as well. That because of its proximity to residential uses, you're sharing a property line. Any construction hours, certainly any noise generating construction, should be done 8 to 6, limited to 8 to 6 on Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday, with no noise generating construction activities on Sunday or holidays.
That's correct. All of our projects to date have followed those guidelines.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you very much. With that, I think I'm perfectly comfortable approving this project. It's in an area where these uses are intended. So thank you, Eric, for answering my questions. And thank you, Ms. Shikali.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have kind of a change of the guards on, I don't think any planners are actually representing their own projects today. Supervising planner Amy Nicholson will be providing a presentation for item 5.3, which is a conditional use permit for a fence at 3056 Sonoma Avenue. The fence proposed to enclose the side yard facing Edgemont Way with a 6-foot-tall wood fence to provide a safe yard for children to play. The fence will not interfere with the required vision triangle, and the area between the fence and sidewalk will be landscaped. File number CUP 20-040. Ms. Nicholson?
Thank you, Zoning Administrator Murray. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see it okay?
We sure can. Thank you.
Okay. So as you mentioned, this project before you is a minor conditional use permit for a residential fence, and this project site is located at 3056 Sonoma Avenue. This fence specifically is sorry, give me just a second. I need to reorient my screen. Okay, so this fence is 6 feet in height and it is of solid wood. It is located within the required 15-foot corner side setback area, which is why it's before the zoning administrator for approval. The proposed fence would be located outside of the vision triangle, and the design includes a landscaped area between the back of the sidewalk and the fence. There is an existing fence on the property, and there are some graphics later on in the presentation, which was constructed without the benefit of permits by the previous property owner. And so this is really to get approval for a fence within that setback area, but it would be moved from its current location. Here is an aerial photograph of the site on the left, and then the proposed configuration of the 6-foot fence on the right-hand side. So you can see the rather large front yard area, and then the 6-foot fence, which is 5 feet from the back of sidewalk. And then the little cutout area to ensure that the driveway of the neighboring property is not impacted by the 6-foot fence. This is just a neighborhood context map, and we can see the property located right on the corner of Sonoma Avenue and Edgemont Way with the star. The site is designated for low density residential development in the city's general plan and has a consistent zoning of R16, which is intended for single family residential uses. Here's another elevation which shows the proposed fence design, which consists of it's an entirely solid redwood fence. And then also there's some indication of the material to be in the area between the sidewalk and the fence, which includes river rock and some grasses. And this will help to sort of minimize the visual impact of a 6-foot fence 5 feet from the back of the sidewalk. The project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and has been found exempt pursuant to the Class 3 exemption, which is CEQA Guidelines Section 15303, and that the project consists of a small residential structure. And there are no unresolved issues. And in addition, no public comments have been received. So with that, it is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve a minor conditional use permit to allow a 6-foot wood residential fence within the corner side yard setback located at 3056 Sonoma Avenue. And I am happy to answer any questions. I'm not sure if the applicant is in attendance, but if you are and would like to make any comments, please go ahead and raise your hand, and yeah, we will be able to hopefully answer your questions, Ms. Murray.
Thank you. I am not seeing any hands raised, and it's certainly not necessary. I have visited the site, and I see the fence. I've seen the fence that's currently constructed, and I'm thrilled to know that it's moving 5 feet away from the sidewalk. I am aware that there are similar fences in the neighborhood that have been built right up at the sidewalk, and I'm a street walker. That doesn't sound quite right. I walk on streets quite a bit. And it is intimidating to walk past certainly long corridors of solid fencing right at the sidewalk. So I appreciate very much that this applicant is willing to move the fence back. I also know, or I understand that this was not, it was a code enforcement issue that they inherited when they bought the home. So this is, I'm happy to hear that it is moving back, that will be resolved. I don't have any questions. I see very clearly on the plans that it's been moved out of the, it's not obstructing the view from the neighbor's driveway, which was the original code enforcement case. And in my site visit, that work had already been done. So I appreciate it. I'm going to point out, yes, I am the construction hour queen. The construction hours, no noise generating activities pertaining to this fence, hopefully ever actually. Construction activities before 8 or after 8 a.m. or after 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. on Saturday, and no construction is permitted on Sunday or holidays. And this is just a common courtesy to all of your neighbors. And with that, I am going to
Miss Murray,
yeah.
I do apologize. I have not been keeping track of whether public comment was open or closed, but sometimes.
You know what? I don't think I ever closed it. So if
Okay.
Ginger would like to speak, I just saw her hand. She's more than welcome to.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
I'm very sorry, Ginger.
Oh, that's okay. And there was
now.
a chat also that popped up. I wasn't able to put a chat in. I don't know why. So that's why I raised the hand. In any case, so the corner yard setback I thought was 15 feet from the curb legally. Is that the case?
That's a standard development. It's a development standard. Yes.
Okay. So
But
if we're allowing a 5-foot setback, would that construe that other corner lots are also going to be able to do 5-foot setbacks? If this is like an example of what is permitted?
We review each on its own merit. So we have corner lots littered throughout the city in all kinds of residential neighborhoods and commercial neighborhoods for that matter. And so we review each one on a case-by-case basis.
How often are they approved?
When they come in, they get conditions. So I'm going to use, they get approved quite frequently, but they don't necessarily get approved as requested.
So I am sorry to keep interrupting. We are on the opposite corner, 2 houses away, and we have a conforming 3-foot fence. And so my question is that these people who I think are lovely, are going to be permitted to have a fence that is 5 feet in from the sidewalk. She goes out onto Sonoma Avenue, which is a major thoroughfare. Then it would stand to reason that we, 2 houses away, would also have a request to build a fence that is 5 feet from the sidewalk. Attorneys build cases based on precedent, I guess.
So I'm not an attorney, but I am a planner, and I've reviewed my fair share of fences in the past. And I will say, if you'd like to come in and we can talk about your site, or you can schedule an appointment with any one of the planners or our counter staff, and they can explain to you kind of what's necessary. In this case, it was there was an issue with the corner. I'm going to say that it's the back side, and I think it's the south side.
Oh, I'm very familiar with it.
Where the neighbor's driveway was. So
I wonder, and I don't know, perhaps they're on the people who live immediately next to it. That little corner cutout was really not sufficient. They had the way it is right now. They have I think a 4-year-old or 5-year-old or something like that, and it was not sufficient to have that little corner. So I don't know.
That little corner meets our requirements.
The corner cutout
requirements. Yeah, the corner cutout meets the city's requirements. So that has been reviewed on the plans. And as far as your own property, we have planning staff and permit intake staff that can talk to you about, the merits of your own proposal. There's a process. It's a conditional use permit. It's a subsidized fee for residential fences. Just so
I understand.
Come in and talk to us.
Yeah, I understand. I just see, as you noted, all kinds of things everywhere.
No, I know. We could keep our code enforcement officers, we are complaint driven. We could keep code enforcement
bet.
officers full-time employed, several of them looking at fences and signs throughout the city. So I understand.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. So do we have any other hands raised? So I'm going to go back to where I was. I think was at the point where I am very comfortable with this project as conditioned and will be approving it. Thank you, Ms. Nicholson, for covering. And let's see, I think the next item is you too. Can I see that agenda? Item 5.4 is a Hillside development permit located at 4788 Carissa Avenue. Background on this is it's proposing to construct retaining walls as tall as 4.3 feet in the backyard. File number is HDP 22-007. Project planner was Mike Wixon, but I do believe that supervising planner Nicholson will be providing the presentation.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you again, Zoning Administrator Murray. I will share my screen. Can you see it okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, so as you mentioned, this is a minor hillside development permit, primarily for a retaining wall, and this project site is located at 4788 Carissa Avenue. The hillside development permit is required because construction is proposed on slopes which exceed a 10% grade. And so again, this is limited to the construction of retaining walls and also an arbor. And this is located within the rear yard of a single family residence. Here's an aerial photograph from 2015. As you mentioned, I am not the project planner, so I'm not really sure of the history here. However, and I do believe I saw the applicant on the participant list. This is a photograph from 2019. I'm not sure what happened to the residence, but it is clearly not here several years after the 2015 aerial. And then we see that it's being rebuilt here in the year 2020. Here's a site plan which shows the footprint of the house. So my understanding is this has all been constructed. This is the rear yard. So Carissa Avenue is on the left side of the graphic. And there are the retaining walls are shown. I'm not sure if you can see my arrow, hopefully here with some steps. And then here as well, I believe this is the location of the arbor. And this is just that same drawing zoomed in a bit more. This area back here is, no, I'm sorry, I believe this area on the right side of the page is is an open space area, which is right next to Annandale State Park. Here are some cross sections, so we can see the proposed retaining wall and a flat area. So it is a bit terraced, and this is really just to allow for more usable space in the backyard. And you can see that even though there will be a modification of this slope, it does step to really fit in with the natural grade of the hillside. There are a number of required findings to approve a hillside development permit in the city's zoning code. Two important ones shown here on the slide are that the grading of the hillside development respects natural features and visually blends with adjacent properties, which staff has determined is the case. And in addition, that the construction avoids large areas of flat pads. And so even though there is sort of a flat pad area in between the retaining walls, there is some stepping to conform to the site's topography. The project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for a Class 3 exemption under CEQA guideline section 15303, in that it consists of a residential accessory structure. And so with that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator approve a minor hillside development permit for the property located at 4788 Carissa Avenue. And I'm happy to answer whatever questions I might be able to. And as I mentioned earlier, I did see, I believe the applicant on this call looks like a hand is raised too. So perhaps an opportunity for additional information and answering questions. So thank you.
So do you know if Mark Vera is the applicant?
I believe so.
Oh, good.
Okay.
There, he's getting the prompt. Hi, Mark, how are you today?
Well, thank you. Good morning.
Good. Did Ms. Nicholson get that project description? Pretty good?
Yes, it sounds in line, and we are looking forward to the opportunity to landscape our backyard. The house burned down in 2018, and we've been there just a little over a year. And this is going to be really nice for the children.
Mm-hmm. I completely understand wanting more usable space in your backyard. Was the house, was that related to any of our larger fires?
It was a single structure fire.
Okay, that's what it looked like, but I just wanted to verify that and make sure we didn't put you through a process that you didn't need to go through. But doesn't sound like that's the case. So I've reviewed the project. I've reviewed the findings. I agree with them, and I think I have my. If you've been listening, I'm a stickler on those construction hours in residential neighborhoods. So if the condition hasn't been modified, it will be modified to limit your construction hours to 8 to 6 Monday through Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturday with no noise generating construction activities. You can get out there and garden, but you can't be digging on Sunday and holidays with work related to this approval. So,
Understood.
Good, thank you. I kind of, most people that live in residential neighborhoods do. So thank you very much. With that, I'm going to approve the project, and I hope you enjoy your trellis and your more usable backyard space. And thank you for going through the process.
Ms. Murray?
Thank you very much.
Let's
I
see,
think
I forgot to, did I forget to open the public comment period?
I don't recall any public comment on that one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just hold off on that approval. Are there any public comments? I apologize, everybody. If so, raise your hands. Phew, if you're calling in, will you hit *9 if you want to talk or you want to comment? Phew, again. Okay, back to where I was. With that, I'm going to approve the project. Thank you very much, Mark, and enjoy your new space.
Thank you.
And now we come back to item 5.5, which is a landmark alteration at 398 10th Street. Installation of a new 6-foot black metal vertical rail security fence with 1 lower and 2 upper horizontal rails and gates along portions of the site perimeter. The application has been filed by the Roman Catholic Bishop of Santa Rosa, file number LMA 22010. And I have a question about I seem to recall this involved more than one property, or maybe the fence is only on one property. Mike Wixon was the project planner. Ms. Nicholson is also stepping in for him on this project. I'm hoping that there's a site plan on the presentation, but I believe there is. So Ms. Nicholson, can you give us that?
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Murray. I will go ahead and screen share the presentation, and I can also share my screen and do another map view if that helps, because there are quite a few addresses listed for this particular site. Okay. Good morning again. The item before you this time is a minor landmark alteration permit, and this site is located on both B Street and 10th Street. Here's an aerial photograph and sort of some neighborhood context information. This is the site of the St. Rose Catholic Church. This is located within the St. Rose Preservation District. So this is one of the city's 8 preservation districts. And we can sort of get a better idea of why this particular site consists of so many parcels. So it's bounded by 10th and B Street here. And it looks like perhaps partially 9th Street. So it's, but I'm happy to look at sort of the parcel breakdown for this particular site after this presentation. Here is the site plan. So we're talking about a 6-foot high rail metal fence, which would be constructed in a black color. And this fence is shown on the site plan in this dashed red color here, with some gates shown in various locations along B Street and 10th Street as well. Here are some graphics which represent the proposed 6-foot high fence. Again, this is located within the St. Rose Preservation District. And so here are some photographs of the site. So this top left photograph shows the view of the church from B Street. This photograph here on the top right shows some existing chain link fence along 9th Street in the vicinity of the site. And this bottom right photograph shows that metal rail type fence that's being proposed with this landmark alteration permit. The proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for a Class 3 exemption under CEQA guideline section 15303, and that the project consists of a small structure, which is a fence, and this is accessory to the main building, which is the church on the site. With that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator approve a minor landmark alteration permit for this new metal fence with gates. And I am happy to answer whatever questions I can. Again, looking at, I can do some screen sharing of additional application materials, and I hope that the applicant is also available on this call and perhaps can provide some additional detail as needed. Thank you.
Thank you. And is the applicant on, or designer, applicant representative on the call? And if so, could you raise your hand if you have anything to add? Okay, it looks like we've got, well, yep. Got a hand raised, got 2.
Okay, because we did a sound check earlier, I'm just gonna start with Belinda.
Well, good morning, Miss Murray and Miss Nicholson. This is Belinda Biscocho, a member of the Parish Council of St. Rose Catholic Church. And this is to respectfully request Miss Susan Murray for your approval in the construction of the security fence of St. Rose up to the sidewalk. And I strongly support Bishop Vasa's and Father Michael Raj position on this for three main reasons. Up to the sidewalk, because this has been the rightful property line. Secondly, is for better protection and for the security of the people and of the property. And thirdly is to protect and prevent the cutting of the trees around some parts close to the sidewalk. And this is with the necessity and urgency of construction of the wall up to the sidewalk. Rest assured that aesthetics will be observed as shown in the photos or PowerPoint, and environmental consideration will be observed that would blend with the adjacent properties. And thank you very much. Hopeful for your approval, Ms. Marie. Thank you, Ms. Nicholson, for the presentation.
Belinda, are you part of the applicant team, or is this a public comment? Are you still there?
I am in support of the applicant, Bishop Vasa, because I'm a member of the Parish Council of St. Rose Catholic Church.
Thank you very much.
you.
Your comments are well taken. I appreciate it. But I see two other hands raised, and I'm hoping that we can verify that one of them is actually part of the applicant team. And then we can hear from them to verify that, because I don't know that there are staff here that are familiar with the applicant team.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and unmute
You
this
go
one.
ahead and unmute them all. It's fine, and
Okay.
I'll go ahead and just ask the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also, Ms. Murray, we don't generally use our 3-minute public timer for zoning. I mean, we haven't historically used our 3-minute public timer for zoning administrator, but we certainly can. I have it pulled up and it's ready if we want to go that direction for public.
Okay. I think that you should be prepared to do that, and just in case. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I see a lot of hands raised, and I'm just gonna, I don't know how to check in with you, so I'm gonna L. Ronk.
Yes, Ed Ron Kelly.
Are you part of the applicant team?
Yes, I submitted the application.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
In fact, I was part of the original application with the architect's office, Figurino. So anyway,
Okay.
but just as a point of clarification, this site, way back when I was a kid, consisted of a single church, a rectory, St. Rose School, and Ursuline Convent. Ursuline moved out to north, and the property then was redivided, large parking lot put in, a new convent was put in, a new rectory, the old church, in addition to the church, the old rectory. So that would kind of consolidate all of these addresses that you see. And initially, that entire site was fenced in, which was probably 70% of it was Ursuline High School and Ursuline Convent. And over the years, or these last few years, there's been a considerable increase of homeless people coming onto the property, defecating around the baptistry, sleeping in the vegetation and the landscaping around the buildings. And most recently had a woman attacked on the church property. So we felt a real need for the security fence and being placed behind the sidewalk so that the entire site would be secure. Around the parking lot is all an existing chain link fence, which goes along 10th Street and then back down Washington and over to 9th. And there's actually a fence across dividing the property between the areas to the south, the residential areas to the south. So that would be, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I do. It looked like there was a similar fence on the project site. Perhaps it was on the, yeah, right there.
No, that photograph was put in there to show that there is similar fencing in another site that's in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. That's not part of your site. I understand.
No.
I understand. I see that example of similar fencing.
In fact, I
Right
think
now?
that's the museum.
Got it. Got it. I think you're right. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to open up the public comment period because I know we had several hands raised. Before I do that, are there any other members that are as part of the applicant team? Does that conclude the comments from the applicant team? And I'm going to ask the gentleman that was just speaking, if you could unmute yourself and just confirm that your comments are it for the team.
Okay, Father Michael Raj is the pastor, and he would, be part of. He's instrumental in getting me to do what I've done.
Oh, okay. And his hand is raised. So if he would like to say something, let's go ahead and elevate him or unmute him. Thank you, Kimberly.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. I am Father Michael Raj. I'm the pastor of the St. Rose Catholic Church. And well, we are asking for the fence we always have had. I can show, I don't know if I can show the fence. We have pictures of the fence. And right now we are losing business due to the March 8th attempted of the rape. And also on May 26th, it came on the television channels and Telemundo, like the Latino channels. And people are afraid to send their kids, and people come to church even. And because of a lot of scandals and rape and drug needles, and a lot of our liturgy services are affected because of the noise. Our priests is risked to live here because nighttime we cannot sleep here. It becomes a public park after 8 o'clock, right? Mm-hmm. Because there is no fence there. Mm-hmm. And so we cannot afford at this point to give hanging room for the homeless people within our property line. And we need to have the fence as we always have had before up to the property line, which is a sidewalk. There are right now, a lot of payments there. We cannot put the fence inside, not just lose the trees, but that will encourage them to hang around. So we won't have a strong fence. Otherwise, we have to close down the best church because it's becoming dangerous for the people. And we have lost so much precious stainless glass windows like the old church. We constantly are fixing lights and bulbs, and sometimes even homeless people open the waters right in night times. They're bored. We can't even afford to have a doorbell here, right? So much vandalism, so much scandals and losing business. And so I request you, please let us have the fence as we always have had up to the property line and strong fence, and help us to protect our children and parishioners.
Thank you for your comments, Father Michael Raj. I appreciate it.
Right.
And now let's go ahead, and if we can just let public comments open it. Looks like we've got several people that would like to comment.
All right, first of all, I'm going to share my screen. I'll put the slide up. I want to let everybody know we do have 3 minutes available for public comments. It doesn't mean that you have to speak for 3 minutes. It's just a timer to give you an idea of where you are. And so first of all, we have in our list here, Dan. Dan, I'm going to send you a prompt so you can unmute. And when you do, can you please verify that you can see the timer on your screen?
Yes, I can see the timer on my screen. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Murray. I appreciate that. Dan Hollingworth. I'm a volunteer and member at St. Rose Catholic Church. I'm also a member of the Santa Rosa Council 1324 of the Knights of Columbus. And I'm not going to restipulate the other facts that other people have, but I certainly agree with them. And there is a transient problem through the property of the church. I have seen it going into the professional office building on the site for our monthly and bi-monthly meetings on the 3rd floor there, and have seen the transient problem in that building due to the fact of access to the property. And this fence certainly would limit access in the areas of concern for the parishioners, for the children, and for the priests. So with that, I'll stress the fact that it would be improving security on the property. And thank you for letting me speak on this issue.
Thank you for commenting.
Okay, and let's see, looks like next up we have Ness Salonga. I'm gonna send a prompt. Where are you?
All right. Can you hear me?
There you go. Can you see the timer on the screen, Ness?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ness, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Ms. Murray. So this is a comment, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Ness Salonga. I am a parish member for St. Rose Church for over 30 years. And I've seen different priests, different things happening at the church all throughout the whole 30 years. My opinion is the key word with this issue here is deterrence. And it's pretty much to discourage an action. There are a lot of homeless people all throughout the property. I've seen it throughout 30 years. It has grown. It is getting worse. Basically, the homeless have become very aggressive, and their aggressive acts have gotten worse. Even the previous priests that were before Father Mike Raj have complained about it. And basically, we cannot give them more space. We need to have the fence up to the sidewalk. That way it'll have less deterrence. And if not, they'll hang out more if you give them more space, even if it's just a few meters from the sidewalk. And the other point I want to point out is that if you want to measure between aesthetic appeal versus safety, I can tell you now, during the fires, St. Rose School, that's where my kids go to, they had to be evacuated and had to put their classrooms in that same property where St. Rose Church was. And they put up a fence right away within their property. So it was concern for the safety. We were aware of the homeless going on, but we still put up the school and the classrooms there until the buildings at the St. Rose School facility near Cardinal Newman were fixed. And so there was there was a fence previously put up, and I strongly encourage that we put that fence back. It's long overdue. That's all.
Thank you for your comments.
All right, and next up we have Adriana Hernandez. Adriana, can you check your sound and confirm you can see the timer on the screen, please?
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes, and I can see the timer. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I just want to make a comment that I am a teacher. I teach catechesis at the church. And after the attack that we had, where one of our teachers was actually attacked by one of the homeless, my kids did not want to stay in class anymore because they did not feel safe. So their parents would have to stay outside the classroom just to make sure that they feel safe. So I think having the fence around the property would really give them a sense of security in that we are listening to them. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on the fence. And like Father Michael Raj says, it is better to eliminate any space available for the homeless to camp. So having the fence to the sidewalk would eliminate that. And again, the kids will feel safer. They do tend to be more nervous when they come to church in the classes now. So that's my input. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for commenting.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Denise Hill.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Hi. I am a neighbor in the St. Rose neighborhood. My husband and I have lived across from the St. Rose Church parking lot for 30 years, and we are in full support of this fence. It has been very challenging in our neighborhood due to the homeless drop-in center that Catholic Charities runs. It draws people through the neighborhood, and they have gotten more aggressive, and they've also continually refused services, yet camped in the neighborhood, for literally a year or more at a time. So it's disconcerting to the neighbors too, especially those with children or the seniors, to have to walk by these people in encampments when they're clearly not in their right mind most of the time. So we really would like to see this fence go up as soon as possible. As much as it seems to, not comply as far as being right at the sidewalk, we totally understand why they want to do that, because any toehold that's left open as far as available property will get used for camping. And we've seen it before, and we'll see it again if that happens. So we're totally in support. I would like to mention a couple things. One, there's been a couple of fires on the 9th Street building that the church owns in the alcove from the homeless. And it would be great, I sent some comments in on this, if we could see a security fence also go up across that area so that they cannot camp in that area, because obviously the fires are really worrisome. And we also have had some what I would call sideshow and also firework activity in the parking lot at night. And I know those gates used to close. It would be nice if they could close again so that we don't have to worry about that. And I guess my last note would be that I'm with Ms. Murray on chain link fences are not attractive. And we have had to live across from a chain link fence now quite a while, and I know it's expensive to replace it, but if it was even painted black, it would be an improvement over what that chain link fence around the parking lot area is now. And then if we could have some contact information, I think it's going to be the gentleman, Ed, but I didn't catch his last name, for the neighborhood on the fence. We tried when we went to the first presentation in December to follow up with someone and find out what was going on because we knew it wasn't getting built, although it had been approved. And we had nobody that we could reach out to. And so we would love to have a contact person this time in case we have questions or run into the same situation where we're wondering what the status is. But just to wrap it up, yes, yes, yes on the fence. Thank you.
Kimberly, do we have any more hands raised?
Looks like we have one more.
Great. Thank you for your comments, Ms. El.
So next up, we have Anthony Powell.
Hello, can you hear me?
We sure can, thanks.
Hi, great. Hey, thanks for the time. Yeah, I think listening to all the comments, it's pretty apparent that there's a lot of support for the fence and need for the fence. I wanted to just focus on the setback of the fence and looking through drawings and plans from the 60s, you could see that there was a stone fence with some type of a metal fence attached to it on the top. And that was right next to the sidewalk all along the perimeter on 10th Street and B Street. So exactly where we want to put this new fence. So the fence was right along the edge of the sidewalk. And so if there was to be a 3-foot easement, say, that would give the transient population space to put their stuff and store it, next to the sidewalk. And also there's at least 10 trees set in 3 feet from the sidewalk. And so again, if the fence was required to be put 3 feet in, it would require tearing out all those trees. So that's, the reason for wanting the fence right next to the sidewalk is that's how it used to be. It seemed to work back then. And again, we wouldn't then have to tear out a bunch of shrubbery and trees if it was right next to the sidewalk, and then it wouldn't allow the transient population to store their stuff there. So that was it. I appreciate the time. Just wanted to shed a little light on why we're requesting the fences next to the sidewalk without a 3-foot easement.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Yep.
And do we have any others? No, it looks like we don't. So
Oh,
first,
somebody, I think it might have popped up right when you were saying that. I didn't notice it.
I see her.
Okay, let me just. Okay, so it looks like Ms. Mendoza is not going to be allowed to unmute unless we promote to panelists. So we can do that, Ms. Murray, if you would like to.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine to allow her to speak.
Ms. Mendoza, you have a prompt that you can go ahead and answer. Just to let you know, your camera is enabled when you are a panelist. You can turn it off if you would prefer, but you will appear on camera.
So hi, Ms. Mendoza, I can see you right now. So again, if you want to be unseen like everybody else, you can click that camera off.
Okay. Gracias por darnos la oportunidad de hablar, pero queremos que por favor dejen poner la defensa hasta la banqueta.
She says she just wants to voice that she agrees with the fence being up to the sidewalk for safety of everybody, the parishioners and the children and the teachers that teach the catechism classes.
Thank you. Does that conclude her comments?
Yes, she just wanted to be supportive and support our father, Michael.
And I am
And the
so
community.
grateful. I appreciate all the members of the public that have attended and voiced their comments. So thank you very much. Gracias.
De nada. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looks like we've got another hand raised.
Give me just a moment here. It looks like a screen name, maybe Mocho Adueñas.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, but you're very, very quiet. You might want to speak up a little.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I'm a teacher. I teach the kids in the St. Rose. So I would say yes to the fence because we have a lot of parents that come and drop their kids, and there's a lot of homeless people around the area. And for the safety of the kids and safety of the teachers who teach the kids for either first communion or confirmation, I would say yes to the fence and up to the um, to the sidewalk. I mean I don't know how to say it, but all the way to the sidewalk, I believe. Yeah, so I would say yes to that, and we will appreciate it. So I will continue being a teacher for the confirmation of First Communion in San Rose. So that's fence will be good and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. And I don't see any other hands raised. So with that, I'm going to bring it back. And again, thank everybody, all members of the public that attended and voiced your comments. It's very, very helpful to hear that. I've been looking at kind of street views on Google just to kind of refresh my memory. And I do have one question about the design, but generally speaking, I appreciate the design of the fence. I appreciate not wanting to take down trees. I've been called a tree hugger myself in the past. So I think the fence is appropriate. The one question that I have, well, two questions actually. It looks like there may be an existing fence between the church and I don't know if it's the convent to the west of it on 10th on B Street, right in between those two buildings in the southwest corner. There's a chain link fence that I see on Google Street Views right now. No, on the right side, it's green on B Street, Amy. Yes, right in between those two structures. Is that very tall chain link fence still there? And this is probably a question for the applicant, I think. They're still here.
Yeah, there's actually it's a gate, but it's a tall chain link gate between the old church and the old rectory.
Sorry, okay, that's what that is. Then I see that now, the old church. Yes, I see it on the site plan. I think, what's the plan for that? Can that come down with the installation of the new fence, or will the new fence, it looks like the new fence won't extend that far?
It was not intended to go that far, but it could be, we could take the gates down and extend the fence between the two buildings.
I think that would look very nice. It would be improvement in that area. And seeing the site plan, thank you, Ms. Nicholson, for bringing that up. Seeing the site plan, I know and now understand how the new fence will interact with the old church steps. And that was not clear to me when I was missing this graphic. So I am very supportive. My question on that connection is answered. My hope that I can put a condition that you will match this fence in between the old church and the old rectory. If you could do that, that would be, if you're amenable to that, I'd like to add it as a condition of approval. Just because it's really within the scope of work. Okay, great. And then, gosh, I think the resolution reflects the hours of the construction hours of Monday through Friday, 8 to 6, Saturday, 9 to 5, which is, again, because of proximity to residential uses. And then I do note, I have to say, the comment about the chain link fence on the rest of the property, it would be lovely to see that go away. When I saw the presentation, I thought that chain link fence wasn't approved by me, but I think it's been there a while. If there's anything that you can do to beautify that, I would hope that you would do that. It can be done with planting, landscaping. It can be done with paint. Paint needs maintenance, as does landscaping. So, but because it's outside the scope of this project, I won't add that as a condition of approval for this project. But I will hope that you'll listen to your neighbors and yeah, work with them on that. Sounds like a good neighborhood work day to me. But anyways, I think that the fence, again, I think you've done a really nice job in designing it. I'm not always real thrilled about fences being proposed right at the sidewalk, although this is transparent. We can see through it, and you're saving several trees. I can see that. And so with that, I'm going to approve the fence, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank everybody that's still on for attending. And I want to reiterate, I mentioned it earlier on in the meeting, that all of the actions taken today so far are, there is an appeal period, which will expire on Monday, July 18th. Any appeals should be, you can contact the project planner or staff, our counter staff, and everybody should be able to direct you on the process. But that appeal application needs to be submitted by Monday, July 19th if you are opposed to, or you disagree with anything, or you'd like to appeal anything that was acted upon today. And then we have, I'm going to circle back to item 5.6, which I mentioned earlier on in this meeting at the beginning. We have determined through, we've determined that the conditional use permit is not necessary for the fence at 2617 Rosevine Lane. So if the applicant is on the call, we appreciate your patience with this, and you can come in and get your building permits for the fence. With that, let's see, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 12:07 on July 7th, 2022. And again,